Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that you don't quite understand? Maybe sometimes you behave in ways that surprise you, or you have feelings that seem to come out of nowhere. Or perhaps you've noticed qualities in other people that really bother you, like when someone is very confident or outspoken, and it makes you uncomfortable. These experiences might actually be signs of what Carl Jung called the shadow. Welcome to Mind and Meaning, where we explore the depths of our minds to help us navigate the challenges of modern life. Today we're going to be diving into a very intriguing topic, shadow work. But what exactly is it? How does it influence our lives? And how can we take advantage of it to develop a more meaningful and fulfilled life? Let's do it. Carl Jung, a pioneering figure in analytical psychology, described the shadow as the unconscious part of our personality that our conscious ego doesn't identify with. It's essentially the dark side of our psyche, comprised of repressed weaknesses, desires, and instincts. From a young age, we learn which behaviors, thoughts, and feelings are acceptable and which are not. Society sets norms and expectations. Our families enforce this through upbringing, and religion often dictates a moral framework. When certain parts of ourselves, like feelings, desires, or behaviors, are seen as unacceptable, we often push them away into our unconscious mind. This process happens naturally as we try to fit in and be accepted by those around us. Over time, these hidden parts of ourselves make up the shadow. But what exactly is the shadow? The shadow is made up of all the parts of ourselves that we reject and deny. This includes not only our perceived flaws and weaknesses, but also our hidden talents, desires, and potential that we have not yet recognized or accepted. The shadow is created when we push certain aspects of ourselves out of our conscious awareness because we find them unacceptable or uncomfortable. These rejected parts form a hidden unconscious layer of our psyche. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This means that the more we ignore our shadow, the more it influences our behavior, often in negative ways. For example, if we suppress feelings of anger, they might manifest as passive-aggressive behavior or certain outbursts. So, looking at some practical examples, imagine you are at work and a coworker receives a praise for a project. You feel a surge of jealousy and irritation. This reaction might stem from your shadow, revealing a hidden desire for recognition and validation that you've been suppressing. Or you might be scrolling through social media and feeling envious of others' accomplishments or lifestyles. This envy might indicate that there are aspects of your own life that you feel dissatisfied with, aspects that you've been ignoring or denying. My personal example would be that throughout my whole life, I identified myself as an introverted person who was genuinely afraid of getting in contact with others. I always disliked extroverted people, thinking they didn't have the qualities or didn't think deeply enough about life, and they seemingly lived an easier life because of that. I sort of envied that. After a lot of work and counseling sessions, to be honest, I realized that I am indeed an extroverted person. I had learned from a very young age that this trait wasn't something valued in my family. So I suppressed it and lived almost 30 years of my life as another person. It is true that the shadow includes emotions and impulses like anger, jealousy, fear, and selfishness. But the shadow isn't just negative. It also contains positive qualities like creativity, intuition, and passion that we may have buried due to a fear of judgment or failure. The shadow is like a hidden reservoir of untapped potential. By exploring it, we can uncover strengths and abilities that we didn't know we had. For example, someone who suppresses their aggression might discover a fierce determination and drive that can be channeled into constructive activities. On the other hand, let's say you have always admired artists, but never tried your hand at painting. One day, you decide to give it a try and discover a massive talent and passion for art. This is your shadow, revealing a hidden creative potential that you've neglected. So, in summary, it's important to understand what traits in other people bother you or irritate you, because those are always going to be our best compass to understand what have we hidden in our shadow, what aspects of our own personality we judged as unfit and chose to believe that we don't have them. The important piece to understand is that there are no inherently positive or negative traits. We give them meaning and we use them to do what we think are good and bad. So it's important to embrace what you feel, no matter what society or your parents, your family might say about it. So, the key question, how do we begin shadow work? How do we dive deep into our unconscious to find out who we truly are in order to be a more complete being? Probably the most important tool for all of us to develop is the ability to self-reflect. Ask yourself, what traits in others do I like or do I dislike? These often mirror our own repressed qualities that we are unable to identify sometimes, and we feel the need to project that to others. For example, if you find yourself irritated by someone's arrogance, it might be worth exploring whether there's a part of you that feels the need to be more assertive or confident, but is held back. Next, embrace your emotions. Allow yourself to feel the emotions you're feeling without judgment. If you feel anger or jealousy, acknowledge it instead of pushing it away. Throughout our whole lives, we've been taught that certain things we shouldn't feel and shouldn't see, but in fact, we feel those things, and they are neither good or bad. It depends on how we apply them to our lives. Emotions are signals from our subconscious. By embracing them, we can understand what our shadow is trying to communicate. For instance, feeling jealous might reveal a deep-seated insecurity or a desire for something we feel is still out of reach. Lastly, seek professional guidance. Working with a therapist can provide valuable insights and support during your shadow work journey. I personally have been seeing a therapist for over 3 years now, and I can confidently say that that was the best thing I ever did for myself and for my family. A therapist can help you navigate the complexities of your shadow and offer strategies for integrating these aspects into your conscious self by analyzing everyday occurrences in your life and how you feel and react to them. Remember that the goal of shadow work is not to eliminate the undesirable traits from our lives, but instead is to integrate those traits into our own personality so that we can get closer to becoming our true selves. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of shadow work. Embracing your dark side can be a true, rewarding, and courageous journey. If you found this video helpful, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Until then, thank you.